Sheriff. So I know that, coming out of last week's budget meeting, you had a couple of requests for county commissioners. Can you just go over what that number is and what that would provide for the sheriff's office?
Yeah, I during the last meeting, I was asking for additional deputies. I was asking for positions in patrol division as well as analysts. So I was asking for a total of 6.
And I know that you said 6, but I think you said that you'd be happy with, was it 4?
I would be.
Okay. And so that additional funding, what was that number that you were asking for?
What I was asking for was an additional $800,000, roughly $800,000. And I know, people say, well, you're asking for more and you're asking for this. I know people talk about the budget is where it's at, money being something that is tight right now. I understand that. But you have to look at the whole scheme of things. You have to look at the grand total of things. We have been operating less than for quite some time. We talked about in the budget where we were given 4, but the request was 9 for court security. A study was done years ago that the courthouse needed more people. We gave that opinion. The independent consultant gave that opinion. And so you gave us 4 instead of what the study said and what we said. So when you do that, again, that's putting a Band-Aid on something. You're still behind what's requested. And as you was in the meeting, I gave the numbers of 000. 000 means that there's no one to sit on the call. Each month, April and March, we were 200 plus on 000. Even today, during the month of May, as of right now, we're 214 as of today, 000. What that means is when you call, there's no one to send until we free someone up. And so I think that we have to understand that the county that we're in is constantly growing. If you look at the number of storage buildings that are being, the highways, how the triad is booming. And so you have to be able to meet the needs of the security needs. I know a lot of people are saying, well, the budget increases every year. Well, I was talking to Google, I was talking to Alexa, and the cost of living increases every year. So if the cost of living increases every year, then the services increase every year, the contracts, right? And so if that being the case, you have to be able to meet the demands of what's happening. And a county this size, the 4th largest in the state of North Carolina, we shouldn't be having these kind of conversations, because at the end of the day, what attracts businesses to your county is security, the level of education, and the holistic approach of the community. You don't have a county when you have a security issue. You don't. As you saw in the presser last week, where we were asked to come downtown and work in conjunction with the city of Winston. That requires funding to do that. In other words, that overtime funding will come out of my budget. The city doesn't pay me for going downtown and work inside of the city. I have no problems with that, and we should be doing that. And the reason we should be doing that is because people in the city pay county taxes, and they should be entitled to county services, not some of them, but all of them. And so my request is based on the need. The commissioners are going to do what they want to do. I love them all. And my energy is not with them, it's with the situation. And so the people of this county has decided that's who we want to sit in that seat. And my job is to speak the truth. Sometimes the truth isn't pleasant. Sometimes the truth comes across in different ways, but the truth is the truth. And if I'm short, I'm supposed to say that. The people require and expect me to tell them exactly what's going on. Now, they have the decision what to do with the money and the funding. That's totally their choice. I just want to be on record saying, here's what the state of the security is, here's what is needed to do what is required to function at the level that we function at. And I think that we function in an extraordinary place. And to continuously do that, it requires money. You don't run a Fortune 500 company on a low budget. You don't. You got to decide what is priority. And to me, security has to be top priority in any situation you go into.
And I want to go back to the county chairman made a point that SROs are only paid by the school system for 10 months. So the county is picking up that 2-month gap. And the county chairman specifically said that maybe the SROs can move towards other positions during the summer for those 2 months, to which you guys made the point that, they have vacation time they need to take. What's your response to the county chairman saying that?
I love the county chair, but again, there's a Band-Aid mentality. There are 12 months in a year. So if you move them for two months, what do you do the other 10 months? You see what I mean? That's just another Band-Aid. Let's put them there for 2 months, and the other 10 months, we'll figure it out. We'll rob Peter to pay Paul. We'll just move people. But then again, you have to understand that those SROs are required to go to training. They've worked 10 months, so they don't get to really take vacation. So you got to train them. There's a plethora of things that they do during those 2 months. In addition to that, they've always worked during those months. They fill in the gaps that instead of us having a 4-man shortage in the courthouse, they pick up the slack in other places because there is slack in other places that have to be filled. And that's I think the misunderstanding. I love him, but if you don't understand what this whole operation requires, and I always give the analogy, that'd be like me going over to a doctor's office, trying to run a doctor's office and never been to medical school. I mean, the people who make decisions in the spaces that you have set them in, you have to allow them to do their job, right? So when I come and tell you here's what's needed, right? Your argument is a straw man argument because you have no knowledge of what we do. So how can you be an authority on what we do? You can't, right? So he's right. There are 12 months in the year, right? And 2 of those months, we've got to train them. We've got to utilize them in other spaces. But now what do you do with the other 10 months that we're short?
And going back to those positions that you're short in, can you kind of break down like where you're short? I know that you mentioned the courthouse.
Yeah, so the courthouse has always been a point of concern. Several years ago, we talked about needing more security in the courthouse. So the commission decided, well, we'll do an independent consultant. The independent consultant group told you the exact same thing that we said. They're 9 short. So instead of giving me 9 with the study and what we said, you give me 4. Again, that's that Band-Aid mentality. Let's kick it down the road some more. You have to address the issues. If you short 9 today, you can't come back next year and say, I'm gonna give you 4. Because guess what? The county has grown exponentially in the last 6 years. There are 25 to 30,000 more people here than it was in 2018. So what that means is you have to be able to meet the demands of the service level. And so when I give you those numbers of 200, 200, 200 plus for the last 3 months, I just gave you the last 3 months. What that means is that 000 means that there is no cars to send. So to me, if I'm the guy that's in charge of the money, right, I wouldn't be having a conversation about, well, there's 2 months that they could use them for whatever reasons, right? And here's the thing that you got to understand, again, about operation. A SRO is not trained to answer calls. That's 2 different functions. Again, that's like somebody being in CID is not the same criminal investigation as somebody answers call. There's a skill set that is required for every section of this agency, right? Because then if you just start throwing people here and there, it's dangerous because you're placing people in skill sets that they don't have the skills to do. If I start placing SROs on call and answering calls on patrol, right? SROs don't have the same vehicles that patrol has. So now there's a whole nother conversation. I need patrol vehicles. If you're gonna go under the methodology that you're talking about, then I'm gonna have a conversation about having patrol vehicles that they can respond in, right? So there's a whole nother conversation, right? And so that's why when we look at this, and I understand that money is always a sensitive subject. I get it. I know people are always on the thing about dollars and cents, right? But at the same time, you got to start making some good sense, S-E-N-S-E, right? Because as I said then, you can pay now or you'll pay twice later. You cannot keep running. You can't. You got to address the issues, figure out a way, let's get the funding. The people of this county, I believe, a cent more or 2 cents more or 3 cents more, I believe the lovely people of this county would not flinch about 3 cents more. I don't think they would, because everybody understands that the cost of living is increasing. And if the cost of living is increasing, you gotta meet the demands. I don't set the prices for Exxon. I don't set Exxon prices. I don't set none of the contract prices here, I don't. So to tell me that the prices are increasing, that's irrelevant. Then you need to have a conversation with the folk. And if a company is a sole source provider, what that means is they provide a service that no one else does. And you can't work in law enforcement this day and time without Axon. That's the body cameras, that's the car cameras. You can't function without that in the 21st century. You can't. So guess what? We got to figure out a way to do it. And again, I just want to be on record saying here's what's needed. If you go back and you fact check it, I've been on record saying a lot of things. And guess what? They were right. All I'm saying is that let people who are experts in the area take their advice, look at it, and say what? Maybe this does make sense. The numbers do show that, they're 200 and something calls, 000, April, March, and as of today, 214 000s. To me personally, if I was sitting up there, I would say, you know what? I would have to give you that. That's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. And I just want to be on record saying that. Whether they do or they don't, you have an obligation to the citizens of Forsyth County. All of us that sit in these spaces, I answer to the people every day in God, every day. The people demand the best of me. They demand me to lead an organization. And the only way I can do that is to lead it at the level that they require. I've got to have the funding to function at that level. Because I know and you know that if I control the ceiling in your household, the funding or the financial ability in your household, then I control your capability. Those are just facts of life. So you got to ask yourself a question. How capable do you want your county to be? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and I want to give you the opportunity to respond to Chairman Martin's comment to us this morning. We reached out to him. He said that, he sounds pretty set in stone on the manager's current budget recommendation. I know that there's some more sessions to go through and it's not final by any means now. But in the case that, that $800,000 is not approved, he says that, you guys really have to work through internally and figure some things out with the allotted budget. What's your response to that and what would that look like?
What it looks like, again, people want you to make potato salad without potatoes, right? They want you to make bricks without straw and water, right? People want a lot of things that don't even make, as I said, good sense, while they trying to save dollars and cents, right? We keep kicking this can down the road, right? We put up these bells and whistles, we put up parks, we put up collidings, we put up pickleball courts, right? We don't address real issues. We delay capital projects. We delay so many things that now are costing us money. Again, how long can you kick the can down the road, right? And my response to Chairman Martin is, I love you, sir, but once again, you're wrong. And the people you'll have to answer to. Because all I'm going to say is I want to be on record. I've been on record from metal detectors to everything possible, right? And the thing that I would say to the chairman, love him, right? But no one man knows everything. You don't. I love him, right? I would never go to the doctor's office and try to perform surgery. I just wouldn't. I don't even know how to do your job as a reporter. I don't. But what I know how to do is something I've been doing 40 plus years. That's serving and protecting. I know what I know when it comes to this space. I know what is needed. And what I would tell you in the words of Dr. Martin is, Sheriff, you have given us a return on our investments. Those are his words in a meeting. So what I would say to him and I would say to you, right, let the work that we have done speak for us. We have delivered in an extraordinary way. And the people of this county, and even he knows that, right? So all I'm gonna say is, I just wanna be on record.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.